After reading this module, students, you will be able to understand the meaning of mean prediction, individual prediction, about forecasting methodologies, and about evaluation of forecast. So let's introduce the subject to you. Regression analysis has been used to estimate economic relationship among one or more variable or variables. The regression results can be used to predict the value of dependent variable when the independent variables are given or specified. This is known as prediction or forecasting. Typically, we have two types of predictions in the literature, namely mean prediction and individual prediction. The mean prediction basically relates to finding the mean value of dependent variable for a specified value of explanatory variable, while the individual prediction relates to finding the individual value of dependent variable for a specified value of explanatory variable.
Mean prediction. The mean prediction calculates the average or the expected value of dependent variable, say when the independent variable are given. To illustrate the concept of mean prediction, we take the following simple regression model. Y equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 x plus u. The fitted value for the regression equation given above is y hat equal to beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat x, where x equal to x0, the predicted mean value of y is y0 hat equal to beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat x0, where y0 hat is equal to estimator of expected value of y given x0. Variance of mean prediction. The predicted mean value of y can be different from its true value. The prediction or forecast error can be calculated as the difference between these two values. If we want to assess how good this prediction is, we have to find out the variability of this prediction. So we calculate the variance of mean prediction. First, we will show that y0 hat is an unbiased predictor of expected value of y0 given x0. Expected value of y0 is nothing but equal to expected value of beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat x0. This is equal to expected value of beta 0 hat plus expected value of beta 1 hat into x0. This is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 x0. Please note that beta 0 hat and beta 1 hat are unbiased estimator of beta 0 and beta 1 respectively. So we may write expected value of y0 hat equal to expected value of y0 given x0 is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 x0. Therefore, we may say that the expected value of the predicted value of y and the expected value of y conditioned on the given values of x are equal. Recall that the following property of the variance for any two variables x and a and b which are random. Variance of a plus b is equal to variance of a plus variance of b plus twice covariance ab. Using this property, we find that the variance of the prediction is that variance of y0 hat is equal to variance of beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat x0. Therefore, this is equal to variance of y0 hat is equal to variance of beta 0 hat plus variance of beta 1 hat into x0 square plus twice covariance beta 0 hat beta 1 hat into x0. Now, this is equal to sigma xi square divided by n into sigma xi minus x bar square whole into sigma square plus sigma square upon summation xi minus x bar square into x0 square plus twice minus x bar into sigma square upon summation xi minus x bar square into x0. By rearranging the terms, we write the equation above as follows, that variance of y0 hat is equal to sigma square into 1 by n plus x0 minus x bar square divided by summation xi minus x bar square. And this is equal to sigma square into 1 by n plus x0 minus x bar square divided by summation small xi square. We can show that y0 hat is normally distributed as y0 hat is a linear function of random variables which are normally distributed. So we can write y0 hat distributed normally with beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat x0 as mean and sigma square into 1 by n plus x0 minus x bar square divided by summation small xi square as the variance. So beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat x0 is the mean of the prediction and sigma square into 1 by n plus x0 minus x bar square upon sigma xi square as the variance of the prediction. What factors affects the variance of y0 hat? Where y0 hat variance can be written as variance of y0 hat equal to sigma square into 1 by n plus x0 minus x bar square upon summation xi square. The factors are, the first one is an increase in the sample size n decreases the variance of y0 hat. So the variability of the mean prediction decreases when sample size increased. The second factor is an increase in the variability of x decreases the variance of y0 hat. So the variability of the mean prediction decreases when the variability of x increases. The third factor is the variance of y0 hat increases when x0 is very far from x bar. So the variability of the mean prediction increases. Therefore, we should be careful about the predicted value of y when x0 is very far from x bar. Or we may say that the error is minimum or the variability is minimum when x bar is equal to x0, confidence interval for mean predictor. The mean predictor's standard error can be obtained by taking the square root of variance of y0 hat. So standard error of y0 hat is equal to under root of sigma square into 1 by n plus x0 minus x bar square upon sigma xi square. Now the variance of the error sigma square is not known, so we have to replace it with its unbiased estimator s square. Accordingly, we can use the t-distribution to make inferences about the predictions. Now, t can be defined as equal to y0 hat minus beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat x0 divided by s of y0 hat. As with the actual coefficients, the above t statistic follows the t-distribution with n minus 2 degrees of freedom. We can therefore calculate 1 minus alpha % confidence intervals for the mean predicted value of y0, that is for expected value of y0 given x0. Now this can be written as probability of beta 0 plus beta 1 x0 being greater than or equal to beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat x0 minus t n minus 2 and alpha by 2 into sy0 hat and less than or equal to beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat x0 plus tn minus 2 comma alpha by 2 into S y0 hat. Now this probability is equal to 1 minus alpha. Interpretation of a confidence interval. A confidence interval estimates the mean or average value of dependent variable y for a specified value of dependent variable y for a specified value of independent variable x. Or equivalently, it gives us the range of mean or average values of dependent variable for a specified central percentage of a population for a given value of independent variable x. We can discuss the results of regression model with the help of predicted values of dependent variable y and confidence interval. For example, we can make a statement like the predicted value of y is 230 when x is equal to 20. It is useful to incorporate the notion of confidence interval to assess the accuracy of our statement. This will help us to understand the variability around those predictions. A better statement would now be the predicted value of y ranges from 190 to 255 with 95% confidence interval when the value of x is 20. Similarly, we could make a statement like the predicted value of y increases from 120 to 150 when the value of x decreases from 12 to 9. A better statement would be when the value of x decreases from 12 to 9, the 95% confidence interval of the predicted value of y increases from 90, 135 to 143, 167. We need to report the confidence interval around the predicted value to assess the accuracy of any prediction. One could also plot the predicted values and the confidence intervals over some range of x. For individual prediction, we are interested in predicting an individual value of the dependent variable y when the independent variable x is equal to x0. Accordingly, we obtain y0 equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 x0 plus u0. An individual prediction of the regression equation given above is y0 hat equal to beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat x0. This is because the expected value of the error is 0, that is, expected value of u0 is 0. The prediction error measures the difference between the values of y0 and y0 hat. This y0 minus y0 hat is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 x0 plus u0 minus beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat x0. We rearrange the above equation to get y0 minus y0 hat is equal to beta 0 minus beta 0 hat plus beta 1 minus beta 1 hat into x0 plus u0. This is the equation for measures of prediction error. Taking expectations on both the sides, we get expected value of y0 minus y0 hat equal to expected value of beta 0 minus beta 0 hat plus expected value of beta 1 minus beta 1 hat into x0 plus expected value of mu 0 equal to 0. We have used the fact that beta 0 hat, beta 1 hat are unbiased estimator of beta 0 and beta 1 respectively. And x0 is a fixed number and expected value of mu 0 is 0 by assumption. So we can say that y0 hat is an unbiased estimator of y0. We obtained the variance of the prediction error by squaring the equation for prediction error and taking expectations on both sides, which gives us the variance of y0 minus y0 hat is equal to variance of beta 0 hat plus x0 square into variance of beta 1 hat plus twice x0 into covariance of beta 0 beta 1 plus variance of u0. Using the formula for variance and covariance of beta 0 hat and beta 1 hat, and given that variance of mu 0 is equal to sigma square, we get variance of y0 minus y0 hat equal to sigma square into 1 plus 1 by n plus x0 minus x bar square divided by summation small xi square. We compare the variance of the individual prediction with the variance of the mean prediction and found that the former is larger than the latter by sigma square. This is because in the mean prediction, we average out the effect of the disturbance terms, but not so in individual predictions. We can show that y0 hat is normally distributed with its mean of beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat x0 and its variance of sigma square into 1 plus 1 by n plus x0 minus x bar square upon summation xi square. So we can say y0 hat is normally distributed. Prediction interval for individual predictor. The individual predictor's standard error can be obtained by taking the square root of variance of y0 hat. Therefore, the standard error sy0 minus y0 hat is equal to under root of sigma square into 1 plus 1 by n plus x0 minus x bar square upon sigma xi square. The variance of the error sigma square is not known, so we need to replace it with the unbiased estimator s square. We can then use the t-distribution to make inferences about the predictions. The variable t is equal to y0 minus y0 hat upon s y0 minus y0 hat. S is the standard error. Now, this follows the t-distribution with n minus 2 degrees of freedom. The individual predicted value of y0, that is for y0 given x0 with confidence interval of 1 minus alpha %, is given by probability of y0 given x0 is greater than or equal to beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat x0 minus t with n minus 2 and alpha by 2 into s y0 minus y0 hat, or less than or equal to beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat x0 plus t n minus 2 comma alpha by 2 into s y0 minus y0 hat is equal to 1 minus alpha. Interpretation of a prediction interval. Prediction interval gives us the value of dependent variable y for a specified value of independent variable x. In other words, it gives us the range of values of the dependent variable for a specified central percentage of a population with a specified value of independent variable. Difference between confidence interval and prediction interval. The prediction interval predicts one particular value of dependent variable y for a given value of x. The prediction interval is given below, which is y hat plus minus tn minus 2 comma alpha by 2 into s y0 minus y0 hat. The confidence interval predicts the mean value of dependent variable y for a given value of x. The confidence interval is given below, which is y hat plus minus Tn by minus 2 alpha by 2 into S y0 hat. So we observe that the width of this interval is smallest when x0 is equal to x bar. When x0 moves farther from x bar, the width of the interval increases rapidly. This suggests that the predictive accuracy decreases as x0 differs too much from x bar. We can also see that the confidence interval is much wider than the prediction interval. This is because there is less error in predicting the mean value than in predicting individual values of dependent variable. Numerical example. We have the data on weekly expenditure on consumption and weekly income of a particular hypothetical community as given below. So you can see this data in the table where we have in the first column the weekly consumption expenditure in rupees, and in the second column we have the weekly income in rupees. The question now is find the estimated regression line. Second, calculate the marginal propensity to consume of the above hypothetical community. Does it conform to Keynes' psychological law of consumption? The third question is calculate the mean prediction of weekly consumption expenditure when the weekly income is rupees 120. And last, fourth is calculate the 95% confidence interval and 95% prediction interval and give its interpretation. Here you have the table in which we have provided you the solution. We have the values of y and x. We have the small y, which is y minus y bar. We have the value of small x, which is x minus x bar. Then you have the small xi square. We have a small xi into yi. We have y hat. We have mu hat, which is nothing but yi minus y hat. And then we have the mu hat or ui hat square in the last column. In our rows, we have provided you the sums, we have provided you the averages. From these values, we can find out the coefficients. So the slope coefficient beta 1 hat comes out to be equal to sigma xy upon sigma x square. If you apply this formula and substitute the values, the numerator is 4567.6, denominator is 947.1.6. This comes out to be equal to 0.482242. Interpret coefficient, which is beta 0, is equal to y bar minus beta 1 hat x bar. Now this is equal to 102.7 minus 0.482242 into 139.2. On simplification is equal to 35.57196. Let us now find out the estimated variance of error, which is sigma hat square, which is defined to be equal to summation ui hat square divided by n minus 2. On substitution of the values, we have 13.41305 divided by 8 and is equal to 1.676631. The estimated regression line is yi hat equal to 35.57196 plus 0.482242 xi. The marginal propensity to consume comes out to be equal to 0.482242, meaning that for every rupee increase in income, expenditure on consumption increases by around 48 paisa. Since the marginal propensity to consume lies between 0 and 1, therefore it conforms to Keynes' psychological law of consumption. So the third part gives us mean prediction when x is equal to 120. So we get expected value of y hat given x equal to 120 is equal to 35.57196 plus 0.482242 into 120, and on simplification we get 93.441. It means when the weekly income is rupees 120, the mean prediction of consumption is rupees 93.441. The last part, the mean prediction has a confidence interval, which is now given by y hat plus minus tn minus 2 alpha by 2 into s y hat 0. Now, we know that sy0 hat is equal to sigma into under root of 1 by n plus x0 minus x bar square divided by summation xi square, and this on substituting the values is equal to 0.482616. The individual prediction has a prediction interval which is given by y hat plus minus tn minus 2 comma alpha by 2 into sy0 minus y hat, where we know that sy0 minus y hat has been defined earlier is equal to sigma into under root of 1 plus 1 by n plus x0 minus x bar square upon summation xi square. Now this on substitution of values is equal to 1.381865, because y hat is equal to 93.441 and t is equal to 2.306 from the t distribution table. The confidence interval with 95% level of confidence is 92.328088 and 94.55, which means that when income is rupees 120, the mean consumption expenditure will lie between rupees 92.328 and rupees 94.553 with a probability of 95%. The prediction interval with 95% level of confidence is 90.254 and 96.627, which means that when income is rupees 120, the individual consumption expenditure will lie between rupees 90.254 and rupees 96.627 with a probability of 95%. The subject of econometric forecasting is quite vast, and it is not possible to discuss all the issues involved in it. The term forecasting or prediction usually connotes an attempt to predict future. However, it can also be used in a situation of predicting cross-section variables. We have two main types of methodologies of forecasting. The first one is known as econometric forecasting, and the second methodology is known as time series forecasting. Econometric forecasting. It deals with a regression model where we are trying to predict the unknown value of dependent variable with the help of explanatory variables. This type of forecasting has been used for policy making, as they can explain changes in economic and other behavioral variables. For instance, we can predict the housing demand of a particular city based on the city's population, household income, and some other variables. In time series forecasting, our aim is to predict the future value of a variable based on its past values. The simplest model for econometric forecasting is when the dependent variables have no lagged values or its error is serially uncorrelated. It is possible to have a case when the dependent variables have lagged values and their errors are serially correlated. When the errors are serially correlated, we modeled with an autoregressive process to obtain more efficient forecast. We illustrate the most general econometric formulation of a single dependent variable with both lagged dependent variables and autocorrelated variables. So let yt is equal to alpha 0 plus alpha 1 yt minus 1 plus so on up to alpha p yt minus p plus beta 1 xt1 plus so on up to beta k xtk plus ut. Let us define ut equal to row 1 ut minus 1 plus row t ut minus 2, so on up to row q into ut t minus q plus epsilon t. A one step ahead forecast for given values of xn plus 1, 1, xn plus 1, 2, so on up to xn plus 1 for kth value are given below, which is that y hat n plus 1 is now equal to alpha 1 hat yn plus alpha 2 hat yn minus 1 plus so on up to plus alpha p hat into y n plus 1 minus p plus beta 1 hat into x n1 plus 1 comma 1 plus beta 2 hat x n1 plus 1 2 plus beta 3 hat x n1 plus 1 3 plus so on up to beta k hat into x n plus 1 comma k plus u hat n plus 1, where un plus 1 hat is equal to row 1 hat un hat plus row 2 hat un minus 1 hat plus so on up to plus row q hat into un plus 1 minus q hat. Time series forecasting. In time series forecasting, attempt is made to forecast the future value of a variable by using the past value of that variable. A time series follows purely autoregressive or known as AR model structure if the dependent variable y is related to its past values with white noise errors. It is purely moving average MA model if the dependent variable y are related to a linear combination of white noise error terms. A more general model is an ARMA model which combines both the AR and MA model into a single model. The general form of ARMA PQ model is given below, where we define yt is equal to alpha 1 into yt minus 1 plus alpha 2 y2 minus 2, so on up to plus alpha p into yt minus p plus vt plus beta 1 vt minus 1 plus so on plus beta q into vt minus q. The one step ahead forecast for an ARMA P, Q model would be as follows, where yt plus 1 hat is equal to alpha 1 hat yt plus alpha 2 hat yt minus 1 plus so on up to plus alpha p hat into yt plus 1 minus p minus beta 1 hat vt hat minus beta 2 hat vt minus 1 hat minus so on up to minus beta q hat into vt plus 1 minus q hat. A time series possesses a property of stationarity if the series has time invariant mean and constant variance and covariance. A non-stationary series can be converted to a stationary series by differencing. There are three steps involved in estimating a time series model, such as identification, estimation, and diagnostic checking. The first step of identification specifies the order of the ARMA model, uses correlograms and partial correlograms. Diagnostic tests such as box pairs and losing box are conducted to see if the model fits the data adequately. Only when the data passed adequacy test, a time series data can generate forecast from the model. Fitted values, in sample and out of sample forecasts. We usually differentiate between two time series or two time periods in forecasting literature. First, we estimate one or more model for the period N1 to N2. We next made a forecast for the sample period N1 to N2 using the fitted values of these estimates. This is known as in-sample forecast. This is illustrated below by considering the following regression model. Let yt is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 xt1 plus beta 2 xt2 plus so on up to plus beta k xtk plus ut. The fitted value for the time period t is yt hat is equal to beta 0 hat plus beta 1 hat xt1 plus beta 2 hat xt2 so on up to beta k hat xtk. We next generate the out of sample forecasts for time periods N2 plus 1 onward. The forecasts generated for the time period outside the data used to estimate the model is known as out of sample forecasts. These two forecasting periods are illustrated below. Estimation period, in-sample forecast, and out-of-sample forecast. In sample forecast, we have N1 to N2 period, and in out-of-sample forecast, we have N2 plus 1 to T period. Conditional and unconditional forecasts. A conditional forecast implies the prediction of dependent variable when the value of independent variables are known or given. Suppose we try to predict housing demand in a particular city. Let us hypothesize that housing demand depends on city's population. If the population of the city is known and is assumed to remain constant in the future, then we can forecast the demand for housing based on the city's population. In unconditional forecasts, the explanatory variables are unknown but can be generated from the model or auxiliary model itself. For instance, if we consider the example given above and the population of the city is unknown, then it can be obtained by using auxiliary model of birth rate, death rate, or population migration. Accordingly, the demand for housing can be forecasted. Evaluation of forecasts. It is often the case that more than one model are used to generate forecasts. It is necessary to determine which of the models provide the most accurate forecast, as different models generate different forecasts. There is a huge literature on the evaluation of forecast, and historically, the most preferred measure has been the mean squared error, or abbreviation. In abbreviated form, we write it as MSE. MSE provides a quadratic loss function and is useful in situations where large forecasts error are more serious than smaller ones. This may, however, also be viewed as a disadvantage if large errors are not disproportionately more serious. The other measures of forecast accuracy are mean absolute error in bracket MAE, comma, mean absolute percent error, and mean square percent error. The following are definitions for these various measures of forecasting error or measures of forecast evaluation. Mean square error. Mean square error is defined to be equal to summation YTF minus YT square divided by n minus 2. Let me repeat, it is equal to summation, in bracket we have YTF minus YT bracket closed, whole raised to power 2, where YTF is the forecasted value of YT. Now, mean absolute error, MAE, is defined to be equal to summation modulus YTF minus YT modulus closed divided by n minus 2. Mean absolute percent error, MAPE. Mean absolute percent error, or MAPE, is defined to be equal to 1 by n into summation 100 into modulus YT minus YTF modulus value closed divided by YT. Mean square percent error, also defined as MSPE, is defined to be equal to 1 by n into summation 100 into YT minus YTF divided by YT and whole raised to power 2, which is square, where YTF denote the forecast of the dependent variable for the observation. YT denote the actual value and n denotes the sample size. If two or more models are used to predict the dependent variable, then the model that has lower values for these measures would be considered a better model for forecasting purposes. We have other ways of evaluating the forecasting accuracy of a model. This can be done by carrying out a post-sample forecast. We will not use the last few observations in estimating the model, but instead use the parameter estimates from the first set of observations to predict the dependent variable for the reserved sample. We then calculate the MSC, or the mean square error, and other measures of forecast accuracy, and choose the model that gives us the lowest values of these measures for forecasting purposes.
So what have we learned so far in this module? Let us try to summarize it. We have learned that prediction is about finding the unknown dependent variable when the independent variables are given. We have seen that there are two types of predictions, namely mean prediction and individual prediction. We have learned that the mean prediction finds out the average, or mean prediction finds out the average or mean value of dependent variable for a specified value of explanatory variable, while the individual prediction find out the individual value of dependent variable for a specified value of explanatory variable. We have learned that the variance of prediction assesses the variability of prediction and tells us how good the prediction is. We have also tried to understand that a confidence interval estimates the range of mean values of dependent variable for a specified central percentage of a population for a given value of independent variable x. I am sure you would appreciate we have also tried to learn how the prediction interval estimates the range of values of the dependent variable for a specified central percentage of population within a specified value of independent variable x. The two methodologies of forecasting are econometric forecasting and time series forecasting. In the first method, we predict the value of dependent variable with the help of explanatory variables, whereas in time series forecasting, we forecast the future value of a variable by using the past value of that variable. Some measures of forecast accuracy we have learned are mean square error, mean absolute error, mean absolute percent error, and mean square percentage error.